My name is Richard Rose. Most people call me the Pennsylvania Black Rose. Essentially, I'm the black sheep. I'd like to begin by talking a little bit about my own history. You can tell it's me, generally by the tattoo with the black rose on it. In 2005, September, I believe it was 23rd of 2005, I was actually sent off to a behavioral modification facility in Lucedale, Mississippi is where I ended up. But I was woken up around 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning by two men in black suits, and one of them actually had a lazy eye, and they were actually transporters for the troubled teen industry, specifically under the Worldwide Association of Specialty Program Schools, or as we called them, WASPs. Essentially, right away, I realized something wasn't right. There was this whole scare tactic thing, and I wasn't allowed shoes. I was only allowed, they gave me a wife beater, and I was allowed to wear a pair of sweatpants and socks. I was handcuffed and leg shackled. I wasn't under arrest. There was no criminal record or impending criminal charges for any reason. My parents projected to family and friends, saying that this happened because I was arrested for stealing a truck, which absolutely wasn't true. This was paid for by my parents. They were brainwashed into believing that there's a problem with me, and that I was a pathological liar when I was making reports of domestic violence, particularly against my stepfather. So anyway, it was like within 3 days of my mom trying to have me arrested for a truck that she heard was stolen. She assumed it was me, but it definitely wasn't. And the cops cleared me of all of that, and the person that was involved, which I had no involvement with, they already had them. There was police chase and everything. So regardless of that, 3 days after that situation, I was picked up. These kind of things happen quite often. It's a ridiculously funded industry. So in September of 2005, I was trafficked around the country, handcuffed to an airplane, stopped at a couple different facilities where they threatened me with more violence, these transporters. Essentially, there was no way to contact my family, and my family had either knowingly or unknowingly had signed over their parental rights to the Worldwide Association of Specialty Program Schools. So I tried to contact the authorities while I was down there. I'm not going to tell you how I did that. They kind of supported these programs, and even if they wanted to investigate, these programs are protected under religious protection, so the federal government didn't want to get involved. However, when I was there, I was immediately greeted with physical violence, such as getting kicked in the chest with 2 feet from a man that could bench 575 pounds. His name was what we called him Drill Instructor Westbrook. First time, I was drop kicked right through a desk, like a teacher's desk of sorts. It's just a desk. But that was day one. Now the place that I arrived at, it went by many names. It's been sued for corporal punishment and violence and child abuse several times over the years. And each time that something new headlined in the news for them, they changed their name. And I happened to be the first, what we called cadets. I was the first cadet taken in to this facility in Lucedale, Mississippi, under the name of Respect Camp. There was a 4-tier system, like level 1 through 4. You had to go through all these tiers with merits and demerits and such, and it was physical training from roughly 5 o'clock in the morning until 11 o'clock at night. 2-minute showers kind of thing. Definitely a lot of physical violence and threats, and it was quite an eye-opening experience for what the real world really is, especially when I wasn't even 16 years old. So most people were there until they're 18. That was the norm from what I understood. And I knew that I wasn't going to be there that long. And nobody else really knew that either. Did what I had to get through it. Unfortunately, it didn't matter what I did, because we all still got punished equally the same. And the people that ran this facility definitely enjoyed the punishment end of the behavioral modification. I don't know why, but they tried to say that I was a drug addict, that I was violent with my parents. It wasn't the case. In fact, there's been eyewitnesses to show that my stepdad had no problem, 6 months after I recovered from a broken neck injury, to throw me head first into a door, a solid door in our house. So, yeah, these facilities, they take advantage of anything, they twist anything the way that they want, just to give them a reason to try to, well, beat the crap out of you, put you in the ground, and if you died, they'd give the guy next to you a shovel. But I got out of there just before Christmas that year. And I told approximately 8 of the kids that were there that I was going to find a way to get them out. Now, following through with that promise, when I got home, I tried making reports to law enforcement. I had quite enough information that I had obtained from there. Actually, they wouldn't even let me get my schoolwork or this care package or letters from my family, my sisters, my mom. They wouldn't even let me touch any of that until after my parents, I guess, came and got me. I never had the same relationship with my parents again. I tried to explain to my mother, I'm like, hey, this place isn't what you thought it was. Of course, she didn't believe me, and any claims that I would make or anybody else would make against the facility, they just said, oh, he's obviously being disrespectful, so you need to send him back. We'll take care of that. It was chaos. But Hurricane Katrina ended up actually destroying this facility that I was at, and the kids that were still there were relocated to other places. Another name of this facility, which is more commonly understood, was Eagle Point and Bethel Boys Academy. Eagle Point Christian Academy also. Herman Fountain was the owner of the place, and he was affiliated with the Worldwide Association of Specialty Program Schools. There was a few times where I was threatened that I was going to be drug out of my bunk at night and sent to Jamaica. But for whatever reason, they thought that was a scare tactic, that was the worst place to go, and the place that we were at was the second worst. There's only one place worse than us, and that's Jamaica, and we're going to take you out and send you there if you try to communicate with the police again. But yeah, so trying to get investigations going on, I reached out. In my head, Mobile, Alabama, I knew was relatively close, and I knew that drill instructor Westbrook said that he lived in Mobile, and he was personally somebody that I had an issue with, because for no reason at all. Say you do 600 push-ups standing still and not getting up, he wouldn't let you stop. If you do 600 push-ups or so, even more, say you're having a hard time doing the 601st push-up, he'd kick you and then just keep going. But got a hold of Mobile police. I was sending them information, and then I was digging all over the internet, and the internet was still kind of young as far as social media goes, so social media was kind of out of the question. But I started looking for other people that have been in these programs, because nobody wanted to believe me. First person that I met that had any relationship with any of these programs, he went by the name of Tao, T-A-O, and he was from Samoa. Later on, he shared with me that he knew that there was a facility in Samoa, and he had helped a couple kids escape the place. And he said that they were also affiliated with the Worldwide Association of Specialty Program Schools. Now, in this time, it's been about 2 years from the time that I got out. And over those 2 years, a lot of my life has changed. I ended up being assaulted by my stepfather again while I was trying to go to the bathroom in my mother's house. And I hit him for the first time. And it was the first time that he had me off the ground, thumbs pressed deeply into my throat. And I was probably 2 feet off the ground as he held me against the wall. I couldn't get air in, and I couldn't get air out. I was about to pass out with my pants around my damn legs. So I hit him as hard as I could. Mom walked in apparently when I hit him. So cops came. Cops wouldn't press charges on him, even though I had bruises and swelling around I had full-blown, like, 4-finger handprint around my neck. And I told the cops, I said, nope, if you're not pressing charges, I am getting out now. So I got out. I was forced to go to a teen shelter, and I was only able to live there temporarily, and they were going to try to put me in a foster care system, and I filed for emancipation. I also filed a civil complaint against both of my parents, suing them for deprivation of life and liberty. They did not take that very well. Even after they had no authority to parent me, I was taking care of myself, and I had some other family helping me a little bit too. arguably they were witness to some of the abuse, and that's the only thing that actually helped me. So, moving forward, Tal managed to connect me with a man that was also a survivor, and he actually was in Paradise Cove in Jamaica. When I met this guy, I actually was forwarded to a Reddit post, and he was actually doing the same thing that I was, trying to find other survivors, basically to help confirm his stories, because he was told that he was a liar. This stuff isn't true. It never happened. This is supposed to be a religious, uplifting place, and it's like a top-end boarding school kind of thing. And these absolutely are not the case. These are concentration death camps for children. So I found a Reddit thing. I responded to it, and that post was several years old. I think he said that he got out in 98. So I left all of my personal contact information there and said, well, maybe he'll respond. And got an email shortly after. This was in 2007, shortly before I graduated high school. He immediately responded and was like, no way. He's like, this is amazing. He's like, I've been looking for close to 10 years for anybody that could help me shut these places down or find other survivors. And he's like, I can't do it. He's like, nobody wants to come forward. So I partnered up with him. We shared information. We started using the internet to our advantage. We started gathering as much information on the Worldwide Association of Specialty Program Schools around the globe. We got traffic routes from Japan, South America, Mexico, Canada, Europe, Africa, and the United States. We were able to establish that the Worldwide Association of Specialty Program Schools was originated in Utah. As we started collecting more and more information, we were finding names of people that were involved with different criminal complaints that were filed against these facilities. We started stacking all these complaints up. Every one of these complaints were all thrown out over the course of history. We're talking like 30, 40 years worth of complaints. These complaints were thrown out, or any cases that were ever won, they were settled outside of court, and the records were sealed. If they weren't sealed, people disappeared. Like 18-year-olds dead, 16-year-olds dead, the parents of them dead, gone, moved, lawyers gone, dead. So we started digging even further. Now we realized pretty quickly that we became a target. They don't like us snooping around, not with their company, not with their programs. So we started gathering more and more. I'm calling them victims, but we're calling essentially they were allies, survivors. And over the course of time, we used the name that we are Legion. We had to use nameless monikers such as Anonymous. However, there was computer hacker groups out there that named themselves Anonymous. However, we had very similar beliefs. And among them, they were interested in the information and our abilities to gain information. We were welcome to the collective as we helped it grow. We discovered human trafficking networks, not only children, but also adults. Human trafficking networks all over the globe. When we would try to report them to the authorities say, nope, don't know what you're talking about, And if on the rare chance that somebody said, hey, we understand where you're coming from, even law enforcement was afraid. We've had to take matters into our own hands. And over the years, as we built more and more survivors and exposed more and more and more of the dirty work that's gone on and the billions of dollars that Congress is pushing into these facilities. Essentially, it's kids for cash. It's endorsed by the judicial branch of government. Our congressmen, we wouldn't have the Worldwide Association of Specialty Program Schools, behavior modification facilities, or concentration camps for children in the United States, operated by the United States, hiding behind a veil of religious protections, if it wasn't for Mitt Romney and Bill Clinton. I'm not afraid to say it. I know what kind of chaos our government causes. I know what's considered to be taboo or unmentionable. Why hide it? If locks are for honest people, and I understand that more than a lot of people do, I'm not afraid. Now, Stephen and I have done a lot of work. We've made thousands and thousands of allies. We've networked everywhere. I'm not saying that Stephen and I started this, but we found other survivors that were doing the same, and essentially it's a community. Eventually it's gotten enough footing that it sparked an entire revolution. I see you, survivor. Now we have multiple TV series, documentaries. Thousands and thousands of survivors coming forward, contributing just one more piece to this ever-expanding wealth of information. And the internet is trying to censor us for it. Politicians are trying to censor us for it. These organizations are trying to censor us for it. Now, I have to be honest. I haven't participated as much as I used to. As every single day, there wasn't a moment that went by that I wasn't participating or contributing to these works. Whether it's information gathering or information storing or information sharing, I was working every day. Working my daily jobs and taking care of my family at the same time. My mother eventually found out. Nothing I've ever said or anything I've ever done was ever a lie. She ended up kicking my dad out, or stepdad, out of the house. He was among them. And I made a promise to my mother that he wouldn't be a target on my list. Now, for a target name or entity to be on my list, there's no violence involved. I wish no harm on anybody. However, if you've made our list, you've become a priority. You're going to stop what you're doing that's so wrong and either own up to your mistakes or cease everything. And the resistance essentially is its own downfall. The harder you try to avoid settling a problem, the bigger the problem is realistically going to become. Now we have nonprofit organizations scattered all around the world. We now promote movies, television series, education programs to help educate children and their families on how to protect themselves from child endangerment, exploitation, and trafficking. Domestic violence education. I went and got myself certified as a human rights consultant for the United States. I'm proud to say that I'm also a direct blood descendant of one of the signers of the Declaration of Independence, the first governor of Pennsylvania and the first recorder of deeds. I take my country and my pride very seriously. We can solve all of these problems without violence. My entire life has been enduring violence. I've seen and experienced some of the worst horrors that humankind could ever do upon itself. Go ahead. Look everything up. I encourage you to explore the evils of the troubled teen industry. Understand where they come from. Follow the money trail. Don't forget, they expect us.
See also, PA.BlackRose. Greetings, citizens of the world. We are Legion. We fight for justice among government oversight. We aim to dispel violence. We are here to conquer those who prey on our children and their families. We are among all walks of society in every working environment. We are among your public and private societies. We are a world of watchers. The collective remains unrestricted truth seekers and enjoyed the spread of shared knowledge. We stand tall among the power of the people. We are proud to stand tall against corruption in municipal courts and their county jurisdictions. Holding all government officers, agents, officials, affiliates, and their contractors accountable, we stand behind each and every one of you. Welcome back, America. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect us.